Welcome to Power Word Fail, 5th edition actual play Dungeons & Dragons podcast. My name is Carlos and I am your DM. We are joined by a lovely group of people, starting with Tyrell.
Spunk, Frog Emperor.
Katie.
Evangeline Abernathy of the Mornstead Abernathy's.
Nathan.
Miroz the Magnificent.
Ian.
Ambrose Boussaint, part of the Vespian Church.
Andy.
Hey yo, I'm Pickles.
And last but not least, we have Austin.
I'm Varric. Hello. I sing at your grave.
I will be honest with all of you, I'm trying not to laugh. Wonderful start. We've got a great thing going on here. So yeah, this is Power Word Fail. We are a ordinary group of people telling extraordinary stories and tales. We all are excited. I'm super pumped. This is something that I've always wanted to do, and I'm excited for everyone listening to go ahead and just join this journey. I'm really excited. I don't know if you can tell that. People looking at me right now can, but listener cannot. So this is our session 0. So this is where we're going to talk about ourselves, talk a little bit about our characters, go over some of our homebrew rules that we have specifically for this campaign, and then we're going to get some nice and juicy lore exposition. So if this isn't your thing and you just want to jump right into the action, go ahead and listen to session 1. The next episode, I'm sure it's right on the thing for you to listen to. So go ahead and do that. We appreciate you listening. Just heads up, I'm going to say that 10 times, listeners, so just get ready for this madness, as I am overly thankful. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's just keep the train rolling. Let's see. Nathan, tell us about you. What's your story? Your personal story, not your character story, by the way. Tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been playing D&D, and just some fun facts. We love fun facts here. So what makes Nathan tick?
Let's see, I have been playing D&D since I was like a 6-year-old kid back in, it was 3.5 back in those days. And my dad introduced me to it, and basically he made my first character and handed it to me, and then as I went through a story that he created for me, he added more characters until we had a whole party that it was basically just him telling the story and me playing the entire party, and he would coach me through each of their different abilities and such. I've been DMing poorly since I was 12 and DMing well since I was pretty recent, I think. But aside from D&D, I am in grad school right now. I'm finishing up this July with a master's in fantasy fiction writing. So hopefully in the next year or two, I'll have my novels out there as well. I will let you all know if and when that happens. A couple other fun facts. I like hiking and camping. I like playing the piano. And oh yeah, I'm getting married next month. So that's on the table and causing so much joy and so much stress right now. Being married is going to be amazing. The month leading up to the wedding is a ton of fine details and planning and all that wonderful stress. So yeah, that's me.
Nathan, where else can we find you? Some people may know exactly who you are, but where else can we find you, bud?
Yes, you can look up the Kaleidosphere. That's kale, like the vegetable. Ido, I-D-O, sphere. That is another homebrewed podcast where you can listen to me dungeon mastering a high seas piratey adventure with a few of the homebrew crew, the homebrew original crew, as well as a couple other people I brought in. And in an upcoming episode, probably not long after this episode goes live, you will hear Carlos guesting on that show.
It's gonna be a great time.
Yes.
Had by all, except maybe, I don't know, you'll see. But go ahead, let's just kind of keep the gravy train rolling here. Ian, tell us about you, man. What makes Ian tick?
Everything makes me tick. I've been playing D&D for 4 years, still kind of new to it, but ever since I discovered it, I've been super passionate. By day, I am an analyst for a bank, but by night, I am a Magic the Gathering player, and I play video games all the time. Pretty much that's literally all to me. I love funk music, I love jamming out to Rick James, and my character that I'm playing is all of my pop culture inspirations put together in one person, so hope you guys enjoy something that I truly love.
That is really tantalizing, an aspect of every pop culture reference in one character. I'm excited for that. Is there any place we can find you, or any place we can connect, or you're just on the Discord, the Homebrew Discord? Join that if you haven't.
I live in Buffalo, so maybe one day we can all reunite and party up or something. Go to Allentown.
I hear their wings are delicious.
They are amazing.
That's awesome. I'm always down for some wings, so that's really good.
Definitely.
Let's see. You know what? Katie, please tell us about you. How long have you been playing D&D? What's up?
What's up? I've only been playing D&D for about 3 years, for which I am truly grateful. If I had discovered D&D as an adolescent, I think it would have taken over my entire life. Luckily, I was able to form a personality before that happened. But yeah, I started playing in an in-person game and immediately caught the bug. I'm playing in, I think, 3 games now and am just completely obsessed with everything D&D. When I am not doing that, I work in tech and I travel a lot with friends. I'm a huge live music person. That's basically where all of my disposable income went before I discovered buying D&D things. And I live in a giant apartment with way too many books, almost 200 houseplants, and my 2 dark overlords, Atticus Finch and Winifred Sanderson, who are my black cats and the loves of my life.
That's lovely. Is there a place we can find you, or just around, or...
I am an internet phantom, but you can definitely find me on the Homebrew Discord.
That's rocking on, rocking on. Let's see here. You know what? Andy, tell us about you. Give us a scoop.
Sure. So my name is Andy. I've actually only been playing D&D for about a year. So I'm a super baby. I started right when the pandemic started, and one of my friends from Texas was starting a virtual game and was like, hey, do you want to try this? And I'm like, yes. And haven't stopped playing since. So huge fan. When I'm not playing D&D, I'm actually a college professor. I have a doctorate in chemistry. So you can call me Dr. Andy if you really want to. And yeah, that's about it. Not too much exciting. In my free time, I'm mostly grading papers. So not too much exciting there. Occasionally video games, but definitely a lot of work with my students. It's tiny fear that they're going to show up on here one day and be like, yo, Dr. Andrea, I heard your podcast. And I'm going to be like, oh no.
Well, I'm not saying you should definitely tell them to come hop on and leave a review, but you should definitely do that.
One day we'll get there.
One day, baby steps, baby steps. Okay, well, moving on, the last but not least, 2 people you may be familiar with if you're familiar with the Homebrew. Tyrell, what's up?
Yeah, so I have been playing for a whopping 18 years. I started in 3.5, then moved to Pathfinder for a few years, and then came to 5th edition. It has been a serious passion of mine for a very long time. I actually started playing with my best friend Cody Smith, who is another founder of the Homebrew network. And yeah, it's been one of those things where D&D kind of set the path for most of my life. So that was it's just been super impactful to me. So why not make an entire podcast network about it? When I'm not doing this, I am a musician. I play in a progressive metal band called Nautilus. I'm a vocalist for that band. And I spend a lot of time in the gym with the little bit of free time that I have left after that. Yeah, so that's basically me. I just do podcasts, make music, and work out. That's my whole life.
Sweet deal. Where can we find you? What can you plug for us? How can we connect with you?
Yeah, if you don't know already, I am Heavy Arms Oliver and Billy Boom in Absurdism and a Millennium Abroad on the Homebrew podcast. And you can also find me at Nautilus on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on if you're into metal music.
Shameless praise. Really good, just by the way. I'm just putting this out for the people. Go check them out. Super good. Last, certainly not least, Austin, what's up?
I'm pleasantly surprised that I'm not the only professor on the podcast. My name's Austin Brady. I am a professor, artist. I think I've written enough to call myself a writer now, if that means anything. Performer, of course. I am also coming from the Homebrew podcast as Zaldwin, Mordecai, and Gray. I play those characters. I've been playing D&D for maybe just over a decade. I started in undergrad and then switched over to Magic the Gathering when we all got too busy to play D&D anymore, and then jumped right back into it afterwards. And you can find me on Instagram as Motor City Wolves. That's where you will find most of my artwork. So that's at Motor City Wolves. And of course, you can find me over at the Homebrew's Discord and all sorts of stuff. I'm out there. Y'all can find me.
It is awesome knowing some of you for a while and knowing some of you for a little bit. I'm just excited because this is a great group of people, and great groups of people are great D&D players to play with. So that is a philosophy of mine. So
You, Carlos.
Boo, me? Oh.
Yeah.
You know. Well, my name is Carlos, and I am the DM for our first campaign on Powered Fail, Chosen of the Crystal Crown. I've been playing D&D, I would say pretty seriously for about 3 years. I played off and on during 2 years before that. Pretty much ever since I saw Stranger Things and saw that first scene, I was like, yo, what is this? Let's get into this. And that's where this journey has started. And I have been playing D&D pretty consistently, DMing mostly for a while. And I love the hobby. I love what joy it brings, not just me, but getting a group together of people and just letting them and having fun, and that's pretty joyful. It gives joy to people, and that's why I love the game. That's why I love playing it, and I think I'm excited for the listener to bring some joy to them, make them feel happy, and get that going. Good vibes everywhere. A little bit other besides that, I like to cook. I love basketball. I love to hike, and I'm an insurance risk advisor. So shameless plug, if you are in the Indiana, Michigan area, hit up your homeboy. You know, that's my only plug. I promise people. But in terms of fun facts, I can't ride a bike, so that's real truth. And you can find me on the Discord for the Homebrew and Discord in general. So pretty much what we're going to go ahead and do now is, what is Powered Fail? Why do we do what we do? And kind of what you can expect from our first campaign here at the pod. So the first campaign is, like I said, Chosen of the Crystal Crown. It is going to be an exciting, fun adventure, high fantasy, with a little bit of technology mixed in here and there. It's going to definitely hit all the chords of a classic D&D adventure at times. It's going to go into some potentially crazy things. And the goal of, and I'm sure everyone can agree, is we're here to tell a beautiful story, right? We're here to have fun. We're here to hopefully bring some joy and good vibes your way, listener. And then we're just going to tell a beautiful tale, and hopefully you'll enjoy the creations that everyone here has made, because honestly, they are pretty great. So I'm biased 100%, but these characters that everyone has made are pretty special, I think, and hilarious. So that being said, let's meet these characters. So basically what we'll do, just go ahead and give us a little rundown of the character descriptions, kind of just mini backstories, whatever you feel like you want to share. Secrets don't make friends, but they make good D&D characters. So let's go ahead and start with Tyrell. Tell us about your character.
Frog Emperor Spunk, cleric of the Hero's Light, is a small and strange creature, a rarity, if you will, a little frog gentleman who travels the lands, preaching the Hero's Light and elevating adventurers into legends and heroes. His goal in life is to bring upon the world a vanguard of heroes who can save anyone from any danger.
Awesome. What do you think Spunk's, what's his greatest fear? Does he have a greatest fear?
Not that he would show readily. He's a very confident little man, full of bolster and big speeches about the victories that lie ahead. I think that there is some things in his past that are definitely shrouded for the time being as he is, it's definitely obvious that he is not from here or maybe even dry land. So that is something that I think you and everyone else will have to find out more about as we move forward. But yes, there's some past the Frog Emperor, but he keeps it very close to his little Pope vest.
Let's hope that he doesn't croak in episode 1.
Oh,
no.
That's a good one.
I would.
Hey.
Ooh, that was rough, man. Minus
No,
D4 to your next roll.
No, dad jokes are, everyone starts with inspiration now. So keep track of that, because that's perfect.
Dad joke equals instant inspiration.
Yeah,
I'll remember
if
that.
you want inspiration from me, please make a dad joke, because it's gonna happen. So awesome. Well, I'm excited for Spunk, and it's gonna be a great time. Let's see, Ian, tell us about your character.
So my character is Ambrose Boussant. He is a dark-skinned human. Don't want to give out too much details, but he was a part of the Vespian Church, but is no longer staying there. So he's out on a journey with his friend Evangeline, and he has not communicated much, so he's very quiet and shy. Not the speaker of the party, but he does care about everyone. So that's all I'm going to say.
Rock on. Love it. What do you think, Ambrose? Correct, Ambrose.
Yes.
What do you think is his weakness? Like, what's the one thing that he knows he can't deal with? Well, that could be pretty surface values, like maybe he's afraid of spiders. I don't know, but what do you think that is?
I don't want to give out too much of revealing his backstory, but probably hearing, I think something that would truly like defeat Ambrose would be hearing like a true, how am I supposed to say it? It's kind of hard to say.
Definitely don't have to say it either.
Receiving a response from a god. All I can say is that.
Like that mystery. Let's see here. Nathan.
Miraz the Magnificent is a human male in his middle years. He's got brown hair that's on the verge of like fading to gray. He's got like a big bushy beard, not a full Gandalf beard yet, though he hopes that it will get there one day. And he wears like flamboyant red and blue wizard robes. He has for his entire life desired to be essentially the best wizard that he can and spread his fame and renown as Miraz the Magnificent, wizard extraordinaire, greatest wizard in all the land. And so he is on a quest essentially of fame and glory.
Awesome. What do you think is their favorite dessert?
Ooh, that one caught me for a loop. I was prepared for deep dark secrets.
A deep question of being. It's like, yeah, what's their favorite cake?
Lemon tarts.
Ooh.
Oh man,
That's a
lemon
good
tarts are
one.
good.
Oh man, I could go for a lemon tart.
Yeah, Miraz loves him
magical.
some lemon
That
tarts.
is a really good one.
Yeah, it sounds. Lemon ice cream is pretty good. If you've never had lemon ice cream, check it out.
I make amazing lemon sugar cookies if we ever hang out in real life.
Oh,
Yes, please.
Nice.
We're pretty close. A lot of us are pretty close. So
Mm-hmm.
good old Hoosier State clan, rise up.
What's up?
Down.
Awesome. Cool. Let's see here. Andy, tell us about your character.
Sure. My character's name is Pickles. She likes to call herself a mini Goliath, but she is actually just a goblin that was raised by Goliath. To picture her, just kind of think of the gremlins from Gremlin. So she's got the big fuzzy ears and the big eyes, and she's just kind of a hype man for Miraz at this point. Traveling around and saying how awesome he is, because he is helping her research into some rune stuff that she heard about in stories from her Goliath parents. So she's not that smart. So while Miraz helps her find all this stuff, she's just basically saying how amazing he is to everybody that will listen.
I appreciate he's not that smart. coming out with it. Oh, that's awesome. So in terms of Pickles, what do you think makes them the most angry?
What would make Pickles the most angry? So Pickles gets angry a lot. So there's probably a lot of things on that list. But honestly, she's super protective of the people she likes. So right now, if someone were to say anything bad about Miraz, she would just like kick the shit out of them. She would just automatically go to fists. Definitely.
Straight up. Love it. Okay. And let's see. I'm not doing this on purpose to you, man, but Austin, tell us about your character.
I will be playing a character named Eric, who is a reskinned satyr. And by reskinned, I mean pretty heavily reskinned. I've kind of imagined, we'll end up meeting some of the gods or hearing more about the gods later, but somewhere between libation and death lies a group of owl bears who have been transformed by the magic in the world. And so they have just been kind of mutated into these things that I am calling the Kiln, which are just giant bipedal, large owl-faced beasts with wings and antlers and big old long tails. Their culture will be very sing-songy because they are in part owls. Ferric is probably the tallest, I imagine. Nobody's really said their height, but imagining them around 7 foot tall and dresses in black and gold, mostly black with like little gold embroidery on their fabrics, and tons of jewelry, like including beads that they hang from their mane and rings and cuffs, antler decorations, tail decorations, with patches of leather armor over top. And I imagine them looking something like between like old Celtic, like Book of Kells kind of designs mixed with like traditional Mongolian kind of patterns and stuff. This big blend of very illustrative like patches and stuff on their clothing. And their face is that of a barn owl with like orange and black eyes, big snowy brindle mane, some claws at the ends of their arms and talons at the ends of their legs. And one big thing about them is they cannot actually fly because their wings are burnt. They were in the process of stopping a wildfire when they ended up getting lost in the smoke and harmed from it. And that's when they came across Spunk. Spunk hobbled up and healed me, nursed me back to health with his little grung attitude, his little... and Barrick was just like, you know what? Yeah, we're friends now. You helped me out. Let's go. I gotta figure out how to save my village from all the fire. I don't like fire. It's terrible. Keep it away from my home. And my friends, please. Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Have y'all ever seen a movie called, is it The Fourth Kind? I'm pretty sure it's The Fourth Kind. It's like I forget who it had in it, but it had
the owl at the window?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Man, jacked up owls for me for still to this day. Like, kind of scared of owls a little bit, so.
They're spooky and beautiful. That's what I'm going for.
They are.
I totally forgot to say my subclass and my class. I'm going Ranger Gloomstalker.
Nice.
Rock on. So yeah, let us see. Katie, did you already go, or am I cray-cray?
You're cray-cray. I have not gone yet.
Okay, rock on. Tell us about your character.
Sure. I'm playing Evangeline Abernathy, who is very pretty in a Bo Peep Miss Muffet kind of way. You know, curly blonde hair, flouncy, pink and white, lots of ribbons and whatnot. She always carries a parasol to protect her complexion, and is never seen out of the company of Poppet, who is her very beloved and very grumpy Persian cat, who also wears a matching pink and white collar. In case anyone was concerned about Poppet's attire, that's the deal.
We were.
I figured. So Evangeline was born to a very privileged, noble, wealthy family in Mornstead. Her father has very intense political ambitions, as many of the royal family or noble families of Mornstead do. And she has always been exactly the person she was supposed to be until a few months ago, when she suddenly converted from her very nominal faith in Vespa, who's the goddess of light, to a more obscure deity known as the Prince. And will tell anyone who will listen that she is his prophet and only cleric. As a result of the high society of Mornstead not being super into weird fringe religious sects, she suddenly finds herself no longer with her position of power, and has written to her best friend Ambrose to come join her in being outcasts of a sort. And that is where we will find her.
Awesome. So I forgot to ask Austin a question about the lovely Ferric, so I'm going to skip it a loo. Does Ferric have a favorite song? Or favorite tune? A favorite thing they play or create?
I think there's probably a song of welcome. I kind of imagine them, like I said, we'll meet the gods a little bit later, but I'm imagining them as like little polytheistic. So between Zorla and Cybus, there's probably this like song of welcoming of like, welcome, you're dead, what's up? Let's sing a song. And kind of helping usher spirits or something. But we'll probably flesh that out as we go. Oh,
Absolutely. And Evangeline, what do you think annoys Evangeline to no end?
I think the scraping of forks and things on very fine porcelain. Bad manners would definitely grate on her nerves.
In real life, my wife's like ultimate pet peeve is like silverware, like touching, like making that clink sound. Hates that. So
Yep.
that's a real thing.
She and Evangeline would get along.
And doesn't have a grumpy cat though. That's my wife's.
She's on thin ice.
you can't scrape silverware if you don't use it. So I'll eat with my hands.
Precisely.
Agreed.
Ferric, you are exactly right. Wise as always.
Just use your tongue.
That advice could span multiple disciplines.
Works for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
General life advice, then.
Awesome. Well, probably you're like listeners going, what are they talking about? What is this place? What's Mornstead? What's a Vespa? Well, besides a motorbike in Luca, it is part of the world of Telthar. And Telthar is a world which we were playing, and the first campaign is centered around a continent known as Malindor. And we will be getting into some lore expo, but real quick, we kind of touched upon it a little bit, but let's go back and let's talk about some, like, who's the character you are with now. Some of us have already kind of touched in detail. I believe it was Ferric and Spunk, and then I do believe it was Pickles and Morose. So go ahead, and I think there's just two more. So Ambrose and Evangeline, tell us about like where you're at right now. What brought you two together?
Honestly, the thing that brought us together was our hate for our parents. We were young, like we're pretty young.
We grew up together.
Yeah, we grew up
Yeah.
together in a very religious family. We did not get along with our parents. We wrote letters to each other and became best buddies. And we decided, like, screw this. This fucking sucks. So
Yeah.
we're
That's pretty much exactly what happened. Evangeline's parents didn't necessarily approve of Ambrose as a friend to be seen with socially, so they saw each other at church and otherwise built their friendship via letters. And when Evangeline decided / was forcefully removed from her parents' house, the first thing she did was write to Ambrose and basically ask if he wanted to run away with her to join the circus, metaphorically.
Oh yeah, and Ambrose, jumped the gun and ran for it. So
Awesome.
we became best buddies.
This is great. We've got a lot of great stuff here. Again, I'm excited. Obviously, the players here have put a lot of time and effort into their characters, and just kind of looking behind the curtain on a lot of them. You're in for a treat, listener. So this is going to be a great time. Continue to stick around. But right now, let's kind of go into the nitty-gritty of some things here in terms of, what we're going to be doing, in terms of kind of what's the campaign idea, what can you expect, and also a little bit of house rules, because we all have a little bit of house rules in our D&D games. Feel free to connect with us on Discord, talk about these things. We are pretty active on there. And yeah, so let's just do that real quick. So in terms of this campaign, this is I want to say it's a light-hearted adventure that has a lot of heart. That probably doesn't make sense, but I'm saying it anyway. It's all about having fun, and it's all about just a really funny circumstance happening that brings everyone together, and then seeing what story they tell after that. We'll get into specifics about that, obviously, as we go on, but I really hope that we all come together and tell this beautiful tale. But it's something where it can get pretty heavy, right? As life does. But you're going to be able to laugh, you're going to be able to smile, maybe cry. Who knows, right?
When me and Austin are involved, usually people start to cry.
Yeah. And most of the time it's just us.
Yeah.
No, I will be crying. Promise you.
My truest test of a player is how I'm gonna make the 7-foot tall owl man and 2-foot tall frog man do a true tragedy and make everyone cry.
Yeah.
I have faith in you.
I'm excited for that, for sure. One of the things that you'll find with this podcast, this campaign, is that everyone here loves to roleplay. We are pretty avid and passionate role players. So if that's your slice, this is a great place to be. There's going to be a lot of character development, character interaction, which will be awesome and hilarious, but also with a lot of heart. And I think, like I said before, everyone's passionate about what we're doing, and I'm passionate about you, listener, and you leaving better than when you first started this pod. So you can expect pretty typical fantasy tropes in some ways. In some ways, they will be twisting the expectations on that. So unlike a few other of our brethren who have some pretty unique themes, this is kind of going back to what you would imagine initially if you bought like the starter kit or the essentials kit. This is kind of a throwback, right? Best thing about D&D is you can play it a lot of different ways and still have fun. There's no wrong way to play as long as you're having fun, and everyone is respectful, and everyone is not a jerk, which kind of brings me to the next point, is that everyone here has a pretty strong agreement on what we believe. We're a pretty diverse crew and cast here, and I think that's awesome in a lot of ways, because it's going to just bring a new light on a lot of listeners, coming from the Homebrew. I think that's exciting. Also, too, just let you, listener, know that, again, sometimes things can get pretty heavy, right? And my fear that I don't want is to upset you. So, don't be afraid getting too heavy. Maybe there's spiders. You don't like spiders. I don't like snakes, so very little of that. Just heads up, people. But it's okay. Take a break. Hit the pause button. Do what you need to do, because we love and care about you. So that's pretty much it in general. So house rules, right? Obviously, if you're listening to this and you're like, what the frick is a session 0? What does that include? A lot of times that includes house rules. Again, great thing about D&D and great thing about this podcast is we are pretty open to new things, and a lot of the systems, a lot of the classes, and a lot of the details of each character is unique and specific, and I've kind of allowed them to go wild with their creations. And one of the things we'll also have is house rules at the table. Some of these you may have heard of, some of these you may not have, some of these you might not agree with. That's okay. As long as we are fun and be respectful, we can disagree on a lot of things. So the first one, potions can be taken and given as a bonus action. So if y'all need to administer or to give a potion, or you need to take one from someone else, you can do that as a bonus action. And number 2, natural ones and natural 20s are not necessarily automatic failures. Don't get me wrong, there will be beautiful, wonderful, amazing failures that result in probably some of the best moments in the game, but just because you roll a nat 1 doesn't mean the hammer goes down. And just because you roll a nat 20 doesn't mean you succeed. So, if you have this deep god of darkness and blood and you roll a 20 in persuasion, no, he's not going to stop. Maybe. Depends on what the story brings and what the players do. Pretty much player driven here. So I'm excited about that. So, if not surprised, players can exchange an initiative with the player. You can only do that once. So there are 6 of you, so you can only do that 3 times as a group. Make sense, everybody?
Yes.
Awesome. Also, 2 characters have an additional tool proficiency or language for each point of intelligence they have for their modifier. So if you have a +4 for your intelligence modifier, you can learn 4 additional proficiencies in tools or languages. Some of you admittedly said they're not very smart, so that might be not a lot of things there. But for some of you it is. So going on to the next one, characters can turn a hit into a critical hit by suffering 2 points of exhaustion. So if you take 2 points in exhaustion, you can turn a hit into a critical hit. And obviously, you can't do that a lot because it'll be bad for you. So the next thing is, this is a pretty cool one that I've been told. Players can use points of exhaustion as spell slots. So if you have run out of spell slots and you need to cast a spell, you can take a point for each level of the spell you cast as an exhaustion point and then cast that spell. So if you need to cast Cure Wounds level 3, you can do so, but you would take 3 points of exhaustion and these stack. So if you
love that. Sorry, I thought that I was judicious, or I used exhaustion a lot, and then Carlos took it to a whole new level, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, be careful. Be wary. So you may die. So that is pretty much all of the house rules we have. Listener, if you have questions, feel free to hop in the Homebrew Discord. You can ask there. We have places for you to talk about that. But y'all, do we have any questions, concerns about those rules?
No, I think
I do have one. For removing exhaustion, it's 1 point every time you complete a long rest as written in the book, or do you do that differently?
I do too. So it's 2 points of exhaustion per long rest.
Okay,
So-
cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I do offer you a lot of ways to use exhaustion. So
For the switching initiative, is that just once ever, or are we allowed to do that
once every combat.
Ooh,
So-
okay.
Thematically, if you had a high initiative, you would probably say, "Hey, Spunk, look out," and that would be your thematic reasoning for that.
Okay, great.
My thematic reasoning is that I'm just gonna throw the violent goblin at everyone first.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Just catapult me.
Yeah.
You may.
Is anyone other than the goblin strong enough to throw the goblin? That's the real question.
If we work together,
all
amazing
of
things
us
can
throw
happen.
you.
Just all 5
Yeah, we'll
people
make
just
like a
keep ho.
cheerleader thing. You
Yeah,
know?
or we just have a big sheet that we collectively swing over our heads and just sling you at
It's like,
enemies.
are you all familiar with the peasant railgun?
Yes.
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 It's like that, but instead of actually throwing a hunk of wood, we throw the angry goblin.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
I'm all for it.
I'm just getting images of those big rainbow parachute things you had in middle school
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
having one of those and
Shopping
floating
episode. Buying ourselves one of those giant parachute things.
Excuse me, we would like to buy a giant rainbow tarp, please. Wonderful. Awesome. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some exposition, because you're wondering, what is this world about? What's going on? And I've been working on this for a little while, this world, so I'm excited to share with all of you, and excited to play, and excited to see what stories these wonderful people will tell. So without further ado, let's kind of take a seat back, relax, and let's go ahead and let's begin the tale. In the beginning of all things, the eternal sun and moon, Helios and Ludlona, floated in and out of the cosmos in time. Helios and Ludlona came to a standstill, perfectly aligned, and thus were born the 8 crystals. These 8 crystals held pure elemental power. To safeguard these crystals, who had become their children, the sun and moon sent them to our world, to Telthar. Telthar was void. It was devoid of life, except for the cruel giants that ruled the surface. These giants wandered aimlessly, ruling nothing but searching for food for their hunger, which can never be satisfied. The crystal's raw power immediately crushed the giants' influence, and it cast them to the pits of the underworld. Scattered, the 8 crystals went to all corners of our world, each laying its strength and shaping our world today. Each crystal has a guardian, and these guardian spirits created the gods and goddesses to caretake for this land the crystals have made. From their power, the crystal's magic was born into our world as well. Magic is a powerful thing. We don't know all of its uses. It can be dangerous and wild, but used to cure and give life. One thing in Telthar that makes a difference in magic is that magic has a peculiar cost to each person. Oftentimes, these quirks manifest in small things. Someone might be allergic to cinnamon. Someone might have a white streak in their hair. Or sometimes they might hear a pop whenever they walk outside. For those who deal in mysterious and unnatural magics, disfigurement and death might be the price that they pay. But in this world, there are the 8 crystals, being fire, water, earth, wind, light, dark, lightning, and decay. These 8 crystals formed our world, and our world grew. The gods and goddesses, some of them interfering, some of them not, grew and created the people of this world. We go to Malindor, the southwestern part of the world, where for much of history unrecorded, the races of everyone wandered, nomadic tribes and peoples, forming and living and growing. Recorded history as we know it begins with the foundation of Mornstead. Mornstead was the first of the major cities on Malindor, and as it grew, so did other races of people. The elves in the west grew and grew as their cities formed, becoming powerful and more mighty than Mornstead. Eric the Terror had enough as leader of Mornstead, removing the Council of Power, and he waged war on the elves of the west. And it wasn't until Artemis the Sallow invoked a spell of destruction, an anti-gravity pull, that sundered the elven lands from the ground and caused them to float to the sky. And that is the way they are today. The floating cities of the Westerlands stand high as the elves and men of this world made peace for a time. Not before Mornstead grew and grew, conquering more and more lands. Peace happened for a long time. Pilgrims and other settlers went to the east, founding cities like Meyerfield and other cities, great cities, ports, and various things of that nature. For many years, maybe a small skirmish here or there, but life was peaceful for the most part. It wasn't till the year 2251 that the great dragon, Tarak the Dread, descended from the clouds and waged war on Malindor. Claiming it as his own, he destroyed much of the countryside, and Malindor was almost lost. That is until a few adventurers, known only as the Crystal Court, holding the crown of power that contained the power of 8 crystals, was able to drive back the dragon menace and save Malindor from an almost certain end. The Crystal Court, adventurers moving from reality to myth to legend, became folklore, heroes of might and valor. The Crystal Crown lost the source of their great strength, still holding true in Mornstead to this day. The Crystal Court in Mornstead is a symbol of power and a symbol of respect, and designates to all the world in Malindor that these adventurers are heroes of the land. Things didn't always stay the same. Things continued to be peaceful. There was much destruction. The Drakari wilds to the north became even more untamed. The Deadlands to the east wrought with destruction. It wasn't until many years later that the world started to change. Mornstead lost in power. The royalty, the kings and the queens soon became irrelevant, and the nobles and wealthy among Mornstead grew more powerful. The elves, losing their power in the west, suffered great losses from the great empire of Sumara as they invaded from their northern lands and took over much of the elves' lands. More and more as time grew, people forgot about the old gods. What still, people thought that they had the answers. Whether this be true or not, a man named Ordemus founded the concurrent theocracy from the lands of Mornstead, splitting the country almost in half. Soon, with the way of the master being Ordemus's Lord God, saying that he was the only one who could save the people from their suffering, founded the theocracy, and who else to lead it but Ordemus, for he was the master's vessel. Today in the world, it is slightly peaceful. The years of toil, civil war, destruction are long gone in people's minds, and people long for a simpler time, and they long for heroes who can save this world, who can fight the darkness and anything that comes against and save the people. And this is not the story of those heroes, but I'm excited to tell their story, and you'll see what I mean later on. But for now, we go to the city of Fothington on a beautiful sunny day, where 6 people will meet and their life will change forever. So, if you stuck around long enough for that, that's where our story begins. And that's where we're going to have adventures, and hopefully you can stay and listen and be part of that too, listener. Is there any questions from anybody about that?
Yeah, where's the rock that I touched to instantly become level 20?
Yeah.
It's right around the corner.
Oh, cool. All right.
Nice.
Good
Is
shit.
that like a one-time use rock, or like just asking for a friend?
Don't even think about my rock.
I'm glad you asked. For the low price of $3.99 a month, you can use the block of leveling for as many times as you want. Please make your payment to my PayPal. I will give that to you after the
All right, I just PayPal'd you $100, so
deal. What do you want?
It was $3.99 souls, not $3.99.
It was actually $3.99 cases of Coke Zero. So
There you
get
go.
on that.
hey, if Coke Zero wants to sponsor us, you gotta
Coke Zero, not a sponsor.
not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor yet. But Coke Zero, if you're listening to this, hit us up. We'll gladly sing your praises.
I am drinking a Coke Zero right now. This is not an
Not a
ad.
sponsor, but we want you to be. So, well, if we don't have any questions, concerns, you're like, I want to know so much more. What's the gods? What's up with the Deadlands? What the heck is the rock of leveling to 20? you'll just have to stick around and enjoy the tale. We'll see you next time as we start episode 1 of our first campaign, The Chosen of the Crystal Crown. Before you go, I always want to tell everyone before you leave and go about your day, listener, if you're listening to this, you are loved, you're important, and you matter. Everybody, see you next time on Powered Fail, Camping 1, Chosen of the Crystal Crown. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.